it's governed by any kind of MOU or any kind of documentation as to what is agreed upon between the two parties. And so I think it's important going forward to say if HR is going to administer this on behalf of the retirement board, that you understand, we were talking about the billings, that you understand very specifically what you're being billed for, and that there's an agreement as to the nature of those billings.
I think also what goes along with that is accountability, and that then you are, in a sense, a customer of the county. And, you know, it needs to be a mutually beneficial relationship. So that you're taking that that step to meet with her and get clarification is a good, is sort of a good first move in that direction, so we can hopefully get more response, and we won't need to have, you know, if they see that we are a customer of the county, then we would have certain expectations around meetings and people following through and all of those things. So I think that's a good move to try to get some clarification, and with council's advice, maybe define it, maybe even create an RFP if one doesn't exist, and then delineate what our expectations are for, you know, the compensation we receive. I think that makes perfect sense.
I think at least in my mind, the end product would be some sort of MOU between the retirement board.
I misspoke.
Yeah,
I meant MOU, not okay.
And HR that specifically defines the relationship.
Okay. 5C is mute. There are no recommendations to the board. We're going to go into miscellaneous. Part of miscellaneous, in future meetings, we'll have a number 7 will become public comment. But for this meeting's purposes, under miscellaneous, B will be comment. A, director's report on Sacker's conference. Who wants to take up the banner?
Let me kick it off. I think there were a number of attendees, Bob, Roy, Dennis, Tim, Kendall, and myself. I think there were a lot of interesting topics that were discussed. The first one that we probably all heard in newscasts recently or read in newspapers is just what's happening in the marketplace. And one of the things that was kind of a recurring theme was the breakdown in the fundamentals in the marketplace. Historically, you've had economic fundamentals like GNP and unemployment and net exports and so forth that you could to some degree determine where the market might move based upon that data. Similarly, you had technical information on the companies that comprised the market, looking at balance sheets and income statements and so forth, and being able to look at whether or not companies were undervalued or overvalued in the market, and being able to make some judgments as to where the market may go based upon that. That whole fundamentals appears to be kind of ignored at this point, and the market has a life of its own that's driven a lot by fear and greed, kind of a cycle of the two. And so the historical, I think, analytical modeling of how you move forward and how you kind of survive this market is kind of kind of flies out the window, so to speak. I think, as Tim described earlier, one of the things that we heard was a lot of folks saying, kind of, hold fast until you start to see the fundamentals in the marketplace actually coming to bear again, and that will help you in your strategy as to how to invest and how to maneuver within the market. So there was a lot of discussions of alternative investment vehicles. That's one of the areas that perhaps after the RFP process we will look at. It's still a minority of counties. I believe it was about 33% are using alternative investment vehicles, derivatives and hedge funds and swaps and so forth, that there appears to be some growth in that particular area. There's discussion about the IRS determination. I think is very important. Looking at the IRS's review of the 37 Act, what came out of the meeting was, I think, an agreement that for the next cycle, cycle C, I guess it is, it ends, has a deadline of the end of the month of January '09, was to have all of the Zachary counties essentially submit the 37 Act in full, and to have the IRS review the 37 Act and to comment on the 37 Act. We would expect that the comments would come back to that those comments may result in legislation at some point that may alter or clean up the 37 Act. And then after that is done, that's kind of the foundation of the 2037 Act counties, is that we'd be looking then at a point anywhere from 2 to 4 years out of looking at things that are county specific, and there would have to be a commitment to submitting to the IRS those things that were specific to your county. The real advantage of the scene of that was that, again, the IRS is looking at the 37 Act, and you don't have different analysts and different folks in the IRS